You're
is,
so stupid. What do you think? Shut up.
Kidding.
She was so much fun. You know what? I think our interviews will last about 2 seconds.
So with Joaquin Phoenix off doing press for Joker 2, it seems like most folks have moved on a little too quickly from all of the awful stuff he's done in recent history. In the last month alone, he dropped out of a gay romance film just 5 days before filming. It was already set up, it was ready to go. He was like, oh no, I got cold feet. So he and Top Gun Maverick actor Danny Ramirez were set to play on-screen lovers in the 1930s in Todd Haynes' untitled film, which was supposed to include explicit content. But now the film is toast now that Joaquin Phoenix is gone. He helped to develop the screenplay for the love story with the director. And one source was like, oh yeah, he had cold feet, he was uncomfortable with the film's, explicit graphic scenes. But then Phoenix was the one who brought the project to Haynes initially. Haynes told Variety in September of last year that Phoenix began creating the film with fragments of ideas, adding basically it was just this wonderful organic way to create the script. And Joaquin was the one pushing it further into more dangerous territory, specifically of that nature. This film was set to be rated NC-17 and feature a relationship that would have challenged audiences. Entire sets have reportedly been built in Guadalajara before Phoenix exited the film. And this film hinged on Phoenix's casting. It had already been pitched to international distributors. His role cannot be recast. That entire crew is now out of work. Stakeholders still need paying. That's not getting cold feet. That's putting an entire team of hardworking people out of a job, and also harming the chances of more risky projects in this vein getting the necessary support they'll need in the future. But yeah, sure, have fun promoting your new Joker movie, claiming you can't share why you made your choice, because it's not fair to have your perspective on why you abandoned a project this late into filming that relied on you. Make it make sense. Ryan Reynolds might soon find himself on Hollywood blacklists if the following allegations turn out to be true. He reportedly wrote a key scene that was included in his wife's new film, and the timing of the rewrite might have conflicted with the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike. Media outlets did question the WGA about any possible guild violations and who should be credited for the movie, since screenwriter Christy Hall's name is listed, and news outlets did note that the film started filming on May 5th of 2023, which was 3 days after the strike began, which means the script was locked from May 2nd through September 27th. Not a single word was allowed to be adjusted by a WGA member, including Ryan Reynolds. Well, according to a source close to the Deadpool Wolverine star, he worked on the script in April 2023, so maybe he didn't scat. Blake Lively was the one who spilled the beans, by the way. She was chatting with E! News earlier this year about the iconic rooftop scene in It Ends With Us. She's like, yeah, my husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that, but now you know. And turns out the screenwriter, Hall? Yeah, that took her by surprise. And she was like, oh yeah, no, I assumed it had been improvised because the movie was filmed during the strike. She's like, nobody makes a movie by themselves, so it takes hundreds of people to create a village to surround this thing, and everyone gets what they can. She's like, we all give it our offerings and we all do it with care, especially for something like this. And so I love learning that some of those little improvised lines are what I assumed for improvised potentially came from Ryan. I celebrate that. And sure, she might be taking the news in stride, but the Writers Guild will likely lurk into all of this because a strike is a strike and no union member is supposed to cross the picket line. Katy Perry ignored pleas from her team to not reconnect with Dr. Luke for her musical comeback, sparking a lot of tensions around the release of this new album, which features the empowering single Woman's World. If you've heard it, you know. The music producer has been embroiled in a highly publicized legal battle against Kesha, in which he was accused of more kinds of harm than I have fingers, and I can't go into detail, with Kesha alleging that Perry was also a victim, something that Katy Perry has denied. Now, a year after the pair settled, Dr. Luke has been listed as a co-producer on Perry's latest single, prompting fury from fans who questioned how she can reconnect with the songwriter to promote female empowerment. Once again, insiders were like, hey, yeah, no, we told her not to work with Dr. Luke, because even though Dr. Luke, together with Max Martin, previously produced some of Katy's biggest hits, yeah, not anymore. Katy Perry said she wrote her latest album from her experience of her whole life, going through this metamorphosis, referring to becoming a mother and the female empowerment message of, once again, Woman's World, stating that Dr. Luke was one of the people to help facilitate all of that. Justin Timberlake recently pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of driving while ability impaired and was given community service, number of hours at a courthouse. He reached a plea deal with prosecutors before a hearing, and exact details of the agreement were not discussed, but somebody with the knowledge of the deal said Timberlake had agreed to admit guilt to the lesser offense of driving while ability impaired, which is just a traffic violation. There's a $500 fine, 90-day license suspension, mention, Justin Timberlake is not the first celebrity to get arrested in the Hamptons. He's just the most recent public case. The beach communities on the eastern end of New York's Long Island are really popular with rich and famous, and a lot of other folks have gotten into trouble there, a lot of it being vehicular. Rebel Wilson's newest book, Rebel Rising, does not hold back, sharing everything about her rocky upbringing, her fertility journey, and yep, all the details about everything to do with Sacha Baron Cohen. For context, the two co-starred in The Brothers Grimsby back in 2016, and she claims that he lewdly harassed her on set. Prior to the release of the book, Wilson shared a video on Instagram where she's like, yeah, I worked with this massive a-hole, and there's a whole chapter dedicated to him in the book. And when she finally revealed the identity of that, there was a reasonable level of public shock. She also claimed that the Borat star was trying to threaten her and attempted to stop the book from being published. She's like, I felt like every time I'd speak to him, he'd mention that he wanted me to go nude in a future scene, and she's like, haha, I don't do nudity, Sasha. Later on, during the film, Wilson was told she needed to be on set to film some additional scene, and when she arrived on set to film said scene, Rebel was scared. She wanted to get out of there, and she compromised. She, did what she had to and improvised and got out of there. Sacha Baron Cohen has denied any of this happened, and prior to the book's release, a representative for him was like, yeah, while we appreciate the importance of speaking out, these are false claims. They're being directly contradicted by extensive detailed evidence, including documents, footage, eyewitness accounts. But still, Wilson wrote that the experience led to her refusing to promote the movie at all. She was like, that was really the only power I had left in this situation. Now, curiously enough, publication of that memoir was delayed in her home country of Australia, as well as the UK, New Zealand, and a representative for HarperCollins was like, I got nothing. Also, fans who pre-ordered the book were refunded, their orders were canceled. Suspicious. Dave Grohl has experienced his fair share of relationship drama while in the public eye, including multiple cheating scandals. Snowboarder Tina Bassick dated Grohl for like 2 years back in the 1990s, and following their split, she alleged that he was seeing another woman during the relationship, and she recalled him being busy while they dated. She wrote this in her memoir, Pretty Good for a Girl, the autobiography of a snowboarding pioneer. She cited his career as a point of contention between them. Despite trying to get details from him, she was like, oh yeah, he's telling me nothing, he broke things off, all I got was a 5-minute phone call from him after 5 weeks of me calling and trying to get a hold of him because I just had to know if these rumors were true and I had to hear it straight from the source. The rocker has been married twice and has stepped outside his marriage both times. So he and first wife Jennifer Lee Youngblood married back in 1994, and he said, when I first met my wife, we went out on a few dates. I decided that I wasn't ready for a serious relationship, so I just stopped calling. After 3 months, I had a revelation and called her back. She picked up the phone and said, oh, I never thought I'd hear from you again. That's not a good sign. They finalized their divorce in 1997 after Grohl admitted to infidelity, but moved on, tied the knot with current wife, Jordan Bloom, in 2003, and they share 3 daughters, Violet, Harper, and Ophelia. But in September of 2024, the singer admitted to cheating once again, revealing that he had fathered a daughter outside of his marriage in an Instagram statement. Like, who just drops that lore? Come on. Well, that's all for today, folks. See ya!